Here.
It was a
Moore.
job.
Here.
Scott.
Here.
Waters.
We need a motion to go into closed session of the city council, discuss strategy with council about matters where litigation is imminent because public disclosure would be likely to prejudice or disadvantage the position of the city in that litigation. Move that.
Second.
Brecken.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Capron.
Aye.
Make a motion, we go into closed session of the city council, discuss strategy with council about matters that are presently in litigation because public disclosure would be likely to prejudice or disadvantage the position of the city in that litigation.
Second. Move it.
I already moved it.
Let's do it backwards.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Capron.
Aye.
Brecken.
Aye.
If you can't keep up, you might want to take notes here today.
When's your birthday, the 10th?
Yeah.
No.
We have a motion and a second.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye. It's not hard. Aye.
Waters. Aye. Capron.
Aye.
I move we adjourn to closed session.
Second?
You need a minute here.
Actually,
You don't?
Moore,
Well, I do.
aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Take it.
Waters. Aye. Capron,
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye. We'll be back at 4:15. Present for you?
Aye. Here.
Greckin,
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Scott,
Here, can we stand? I'm sorry. Waters. Here. Can we stand for a moment of silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up is Bob Oakley. We have a proclamation that reads, whereas on behalf of the City Council, I'm pleased to join the Historic Preservation Commission in promoting May 6th through the 13th, 2016 as Historic Preservation Week in Sioux City, Iowa. Whereas historic preservation is an effective tool for managing growth, revitalizing neighborhoods, fostering local pride, and maintaining community character while enhancing livability. Whereas historic preservation is relevant for all Americans of all ages, all walks of life, and all ethnic backgrounds. And whereas it is important to celebrate the role of history in our lives and the contributions made by dedicated individuals in helping preserve the tangible aspects of the heritage that has shaped us as a people and a community. Now, therefore, I, Robert E. Scott, Mayor of the City of Sioux City, Iowa, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim May 6th through the 13th, 2017 as Historic Preservation Week in Sioux City, and urge all citizens to learn more about Sioux City and its rich and historic past. I'd like to present this week. I say a few words if you would. Thank you,
Yes, it's HP Historic Preservation Week again. This is our 14th annual. And Sioux City does have a wealth of historic homes and buildings and landmarks that we should all enjoy and appreciate, such as the Woodbury County Courthouse, St. Thomas Episcopal Church, Central High, the Floyd Monument, and many more. Historic Preservation Week is an opportunity to get out and discover these treasures. Activities for you to participate this week, and our theme this time is Revitalizing through Preservation. Tuesday, May 9th at 6 p.m., the Virginia Square Tour at 100 Virginia Street, located in Sioux City's Old Warehouse District in downtown. Virginia Square is an example of how old historic buildings can be renovated instead of torn down to provide housing, offices, and retail space. Ho-Chunk will be hosting the tour, and they're the ones, naturally, that are developing that area. And on Thursday, May 11th at 6 p.m., join us for a walking tour of Virginia and Court Streets in downtown Sioux City. Tom Munson of the Sioux City Museum will point out historic sites and buildings in this area that represent a significant manufacturing area in Sioux City. The tour will start at 6 p.m. at 4th and Court Street at the Pocket Park. You'll see us all gathered there. Friday, May 12th at 10 a.m., the Treasure of Sioux City Award presentation will be held at the John Pierce Mansion, 2901 Jackson Street. 2017 award recipients are Grace Linden and the John Pierce Mansion Committee. And then Saturday, May 13th, which is winding up the week, Train Day will be held at the Railroad Museum, 3400 Sioux River Road from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And that really is a fun event. Come out and see the steam locomotive, take motor car rides, enjoy walking tours of the newly restored historic building from 1917. And you can find out more about HP Week website at siouxcityhp.org. And I'll leave some flyers on the table here if you want to pick one up that has all the agenda on it. And Amy McFarland, commission members with me, and she chaired the planning sessions and making this all happen for us in Sioux City.
That's how they treated me as a newbie.
Yeah, gave her all the hard work. I just want to say, besides the Historic Preservation Commission, this would not happen without Sioux, Rivercade, and the Railroad Museum. So thank you very much, and please attend.
Thank you. Linda? We have a proclamation that reads, whereas every year on the second Saturday in May, letter carriers across the country collect non-perishable food as part of the nation's largest one-day food drive, distributing the donations to local food banks. And whereas the letter carriers Stamp Out Hunger food drive is just one example of how letter carriers work to make a difference in the lives of those they serve. Since the first event in 1991, more than 1.5 billion pounds of food have been collected. And whereas we recognize all letter carriers for their hard work and their commitment to their communities, all the food collected in our community stays in our community. We support carriers' efforts to help those in the need in our community. We also recognize the noteworthy milestone of 25 years that the National Letter Carriers Food Drive celebrates in 2017. Now therefore, I, Robert E. Scott, Mayor of the City of Sioux City, Iowa, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim May 13, 2017 as Letter Carriers Food Drive Day in Sioux City, and encourage the citizens of our community to support the food drive by placing non-perishable food items in or near their mailbox on Food Drive Day. Your letter carrier will pick it up while delivering the mail, and it will be given to the Food Bank of Siouxland to help feed the hungry in our community. Together, we all help to feed the hungry. I'd like to present this to you. Say a few words if you would.
Sure. My pleasure. Thank you so much for this recognition of the great work that's been done for many years and the work that remains, because this is a very important day for us. The bar's been raised really high. Last year we collected over 26,000 pounds, which was the most we'd ever gotten in that day. So we have our work cut out for us this week. So by being here and sharing it with all of you and everyone who's in attendance, hopefully you all know that Saturday's the day, and we're just asking for people to put out what they can. Obviously, it needs to be non-perishable, so we're not looking for anything fresh or frozen, because that doesn't work very well in a food drive setting. Biggest needs will be in the areas of canned fruit, canned vegetables, soup, macaroni and cheese, pasta, cereal, those kinds of things all make a difference. And we do have a lot of need. The last 3 months at the Food Bank of Siouxland have all been in the top 10 in our entire history. So it really speaks to a lot of need in our community, and this day has the potential to make a tremendous difference. And it's really easy. If people would just put something out for their letter carrier, they bring it back to the post office, we get it to the food bank, and from us, then it goes out to all the folks in need. So it's an important day, an easy day for everybody to be a part of, and together we know we can really make a difference in fighting hunger in our community. Thank you very much.
Do rural carriers pick it up too?
Yes, that's a great question. Honestly, this is the single biggest food drive coast to coast that happens in one day all year long. So all over the country, letter carriers are all undertaking this same effort. In Sioux City and South Sioux City, it comes to the Food Bank of Siouxland because we serve all of those areas. But in our more rural communities, it will go to a food pantry in their own community, somewhere there that's working with us and working with feeding the needy in their own communities as well. So it's a tremendous
I'm on a rural route is
partnership.
why I'm asking, so.
Pardon?
I'm actually on a rural route, believe it or not, so.
It would still come to us because they're going to work through the post office, so yes. But if you're in Sheldon, Iowa, it will go to an agency right there in Sheldon. So wherever you are across Siouxland, you can still participate and know that it's feeding local people.
Thank you.
You're
doing a
great
great job
job.
for us.
Thank you.
Great
Appreciate
job.
you all. Thank you.
Appreciate it. We have an interview for the Senior Advisory Committee. Cheryl Prather. Cheryl, you realize this is for seniors, not for young people like yourself, right? You just want to give a little younger.
I'm a
info.
senior, you know that.
Tax season's over, you can go to move.
Yeah.
Cheryl and I go back a long ways. Go
Since he
ahead,
was a
Cheryl.
teenager, probably, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to serve.
Well, I belong to a few volunteer groups in the city, like the West Side Coalition, Castle on the Hill Board, and I participate on the board of Crop Walk and many church activities too. And I've been watching the paper probably for a year. It's been on my heart, the city, openings with the city. And when someplace I heard somebody mention about this senior advisory committee, and I'm feeling really like a senior. I am one, but I'm really feeling like one too. So I just thought I might.
Good for you. I was pleased to see that you applied. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm not shy as far as speaking my mind, and I try to keep up on the city issues and the regional issues. So hopefully I could contribute something.
You know, the people that we have so far will be it's a great group, so I think they're going to enjoy it. I think you'll enjoy it, so.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
Thanks for applying. We
Okay.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll go to the consent agenda, which is items 3 through 17E. You can assume that they pass unanimously unless a separate roll call vote is requested by a council member. Please come forward as I read an item if you want to speak on it. State your name and address so it can be used for follow-up. If you want to speak on an item not on the agenda, please come up under citizen concerns. I'll move the consent agenda.
Second?
Reading of the city council minutes, April 19th and 24th, 2017. 4 is a motion acknowledging the Board of Adjustment actions from April 25th, 2017.
Can I ask a question, Mayor? On number 4, I know the gentleman who represents Casey's said they will be selling beer and wine, but they hadn't made a decision yet on hard liquor. Are there many convenience stores that sell hard liquor?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
There are
They
now.
all do?
Yes.
Yeah, they all do.
Could that be a condition of the conditional? No?
Susan Stewart, Chair of the Board of Adjustment, 29 West 45th Street, Sioux City, Iowa, 51104. Several years ago, the law was changed, so you don't have to have a separate door to enter on a place like a Come and Go to purchase hard liquor. Since that time, there have been a number of conditional use permits that the Board of Adjustment has issued at a myriad of locations in Sioux City to allow hard liquor to be sold in locations like the Casey's. That is on your item today.
Sure. Thank you. I appreciate it.
But we do limit based upon link from churches and schools and things like that.
Yes.
Correct, and thus the need for a conditional use permit. Additionally, if the Board of Adjustment wanted, they did have the power to limit it to beer and wine, but at that time, they did not choose to do so. That is, to answer your question.
Yeah, I thought that was strange, but I guess I don't get into convenience stores enough. I don't know.
5 is a resolution approving the fiscal year 2017 annual action plan for the Sioux City Consortium. 6 is a resolution endorsing the IDOT designation of the Lewis and Clark Trail today route as a state bike route.
I have a question about that. Could you just talk a little bit more about the project? It was the first time I'd heard it. And then the secondary question too is, so are the different signs, has that been voted on? Because it said proposed sign or
Right.
there are 2 different types?
Matt Salvatore, Parks and Recreation Director. This is a bigger part of a TAP funding project, so they're asking each city and county to participate, and so far everybody's agreed. The signage has not been determined, but they're going to work with each entity to determine where they are and what they're going to look like. So it's going to be.
That map was really far out or blown out. It will connect with our existing trails, right? It doesn't
Correct.
have anything additional. It's just we're saying the Lewis Clark Trail.
The entire route that goes along the Missouri, yep, through Sioux City and Woodbury County, yep.
Who will vote on the signage?
Each different municipality or county government will have input on that.
So, because it spans how many counties?
I'm not exactly sure how many are
4, I
along the
think.
route.
I thought it was quite a few.
It's
counties.
6 counties, 209 miles.
Are you saying that each county could have different signage or different styles of signs?
Yeah, it'll be depending on what is significant in that specific county or
But the
city.
signs are all going to look the same.
I was gonna say, I want the type of sign. I know what it says will be different based on what it is.
There may, I believe there'll be consistent significance. There could be a particular sign just on that, but mostly it'll be consistent.
Uniformity. Because I want uniformity, and I was looking at the 2 different signs, and they're both nice, but they're both very different. You know what I mean? So if you can just make sure that, I just want uniformity throughout the whole trail, if at all possible.
Okay, I think that's but they want to distinguish the route all the way along Missouri.
Great.
Yep,
That's
thank you.
okay. Thank you, Matt.
7 is a resolution amending the position classification manual by updating the job description for the water plant maintenance worker position.
And I have a question about that as well. I feel like I have a lot of questions today, so I apologize.
I don't have anywhere to be, Dan does, but.
Good. It's more a general question, which is, why do we vote on the job description itself? Why does city council vote on that?
Mayor and council, by ordinance, the council has to approve all changes to job descriptions.
Because I was just thinking, it's like, well, that position, we don't know what the best description necessarily would be, and wouldn't that be the human resource director? Like, I trust Janelle to make that call, or you know what I mean? That's what I was just thinking.
The formal approval has to be through the council based on the recommendation of staff.
We trust Janelle to do her job.
And that's what I'm saying. I trust her. I don't know why
Yeah.
I have to vote to say, yeah, I trust you to do the right job description.
'Cause
But
we're both
I
for
guess
to
I
do.
will, Janelle. But you definitely gonna support it.
Thank you.
Eight's a resolution assessing a $500 civil penalty against Fuji Bay, 513 6th Street for violation of the Iowa beer and liquor license. Number 9 are actions relating to grants. A is a resolution authorizing the airport directors to submit for a development grant to the IDOT for the roof replacement project at the airport. B is a resolution authorizing the airport director to submit an application for the commercial service vertical infrastructure grant to the IDOT for hangar and terminal improvements at the airport. C is a resolution authorizing applications for the IDOT Highway Rail Crossing Safety Program for improvements at Military Road, West 19th and 41st Street and Grant Streets. 10 are actions relating to street closures. A is a temporary resolution temporarily closing various streets and sidewalks in the downtown area on May 14th for the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure. B is a resolution temporarily closing 4th Street between Jones to Jackson on Fridays from June 2nd to April 25th between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. for Food Truck Fridays. 11 are actions adopting construction documents. A is a resolution rejecting all bids for the Pierce Street reconstruction project and ordering the return of bid bonds. B is a resolution adopting plans and specifications for the Pierce Street reconstruction project. I would really hope that you would get 3 or 4 contractors in here. And I know engineers know everything. I've learned that over the years. But sometimes contractors can't build it as fast as you would like them to. And sit them down after you decide. Well, no, not after you decide. Sit them down and get a realistic schedule. The reason this is where we're at today is because it was too much work in too short a time.
Glenn Ellis, city engineer. Yeah, we did, the way we had it structured was we were trying to complete the project within the one construction season. We had the working days tied down pretty tight, that it would require the contractor to do multiple phases on the south end of Pierce Street and also at the same time up in front of the hospital. In the past, we have discussed with contractors the timelines for projects. I don't know if we did on this one in particular, but we do make an effort to do that here and there. We're not 100% on that. The rebidding of this will now extend the timeline for construction into next season. So we still have the same phasing laid out. We would just allow the contractor to focus on one particular area instead of having to jump around or work in simultaneous areas.
I'm just saying before you bid it, could you bring 2 or 3 guys and pick them? I don't care who they are. And at least say, yeah, that's a realistic schedule. Can we do that?
Like I said, we make an effort, not on all of them, but yeah, we can.
Well, I think this is a pretty important project when you're,
Especially larger projects.
Right.
when you're going by the hospital. I mean, we had a lot of input in the one on West 7th, but we seem to have lost our focus on this one, so. Yes,
I'm Steve Nelson with Nelson Construction Development.
Can you give your address, Steve?
2805 West 4th, Sioux City. I'm representing Tri-State Specialist Doctors who are going to build an urgent care facility at the corner of 27th and Pierce. And part of the issue is our construction plans were based off the completion of Pierce Street at that intersection. Now that we've moved 18, which is right when we're opening up the facility. So we're going to be shut down. We'll have limited access, one road for the first 6 to 8 months because now they're into 2018 on that intersection. So we're asking if we can get that intersection of 27th moved into the first phase, which is 2017.
2007, yeah, we would have south of that intersection completed this season.
And our access is actually on 27th Street. So we would have one way to get to our facility once we open it. So it's just going to be, we'll be open for 3 months and then the traffic, will be shut off. So we're asking to move that phase while we're constructing, then we can also, they're doing the Pierce Street, they could do all at the same time. When we open, that intersection will be open and then move forward, so. And I think Hy-Vee would be in the same boat because they're going to be affected by both phases as we're going to be affected by both phases. So if we
To
could,
the south of Hy-Vee, or where you're at? Across the street?
to the east of
To the
Hy-Vee,
east.
yeah, right. That southeast
lot.
corner,
Yep.
yeah, is where we're building. And I asked Brittany about it in Anderson back a couple of weeks ago, and HR Green was gonna try to design that, and I don't think they have. I think they kept it.
Yeah, they've kept it so it would be in 2018. To fit that in with this project would require, or this season would require the contractor to focus on the two areas. The cost would be slightly higher. That intersection has a lot going on with traffic signals and all the utilities coming in there.
Would it be possible to do it?
We can present that to, we can issue an addendum that adds that as an alternate to consider phasing that and having that completed this year, if that's a desire that you'd like us to look at.
Glenn,
We would still move forward with the adopt tonight, issue an addendum in the next week that really just tells the contractor to adjust the scheduling or the phasing so it would be completed this year and see what kind of costs we come up with.
what's the first phase include again, Glenn?
What's
What's
that?
the first phase include? What is the first?
The actual first phase is 24th Street up mid-block, maybe to 25th Street. We're trying to be very sensitive with the medical users out there, or the medical facilities, so that we don't have those patients walking longer distances. That's why it's broken up into multiple phases. So we do have, accommodate the users there. So I think the first year has 3 phases to get us up to 27th Street.
3 phases?
3 phases, yeah. And then the next year would be 27th, and then at least 3 phases, I believe, next year in 2018.
And you're opening when?
In
again?
December of 2017. So when that phasing starts of 4, which will be the spring, whenever that is, then it'll take us through the, I don't know what the schedule is.
Well, let's
6
bid it
months.
as an alternate and see. Would you, if you bid it as an alternate, would you take one phase out and in this year, or can you?
No, we would just require the contractor to kind of spread their
Well,
workload.
that's, we're gonna be right back where we were when you bid it the first time.
To a certain extent, yeah, we would be.
Because that was my question, was if you could flip basically different phases, you know what I mean? Do this phase first and then swap that out.
I guess the other option is to complete the north phases first, so 27th Street and the hospital first this year, and then 24th. We'd have to look at the utilities to make sure that we're not impacting.
See, and that's what I wonder.
Let's look at doing that.
I'll get with the engineer to see if just the way the topography is, we don't want to, if we've got stuff that's on the north side of that intersection that drains down to 24th, then that isn't going to work.
But to the mayor's point, if you could get the construction crews together and the engineer together and say, is this possible, or what would this timeline look like, or what would be the cost? Because, yeah, we don't want it to be cost prohibitive either, you know, or the same amount of money that we're looking at now. But if you could flip it, I think that might be better.
Thank you, appreciate it, John.
All right, thanks. C is a resolution adopting plans and specs for the Lewis and Clark Park infield drainage improvement project. When will this be built?
This would be a fall project after the season.
Okay, that's all I need to know.
Yep.
Thank you. D is a resolution adopting plans and specs for the runway aircraft arresting system reservoir storm sewer improvements emergency repair project.
Mayor, is this one that, if you look at the bids, the second bid from Sioux City Engineering, Sioux City is $93. Is this one that qualifies for that percent where we could make a motion to accept that bid? I mean, I think it does. It's within the, what is our percent? 2%?
2%.
Afternoon, Mayor and Council. Mark Sims, Utilities Director. This was an emergency project, so it is nearly complete at this point.
Oh, the work's almost done. Oh, yeah.
Within a day or
Missed
two.
that in my homework, I guess.
There's a council memo.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, my question too was
emergency. It was an emergency.
was the reason that
repair.
the cost was so different was because of the emergency situation? I mean,
Right.
we're talking a 37% difference.
I think a good share of the reason is that the engineer that did the work didn't, in his estimate, he didn't really account for this being as urgent as we felt that it was. And so, not to defend his estimate necessarily, who knows exactly why, but that's what he had shared with us, so.
Huh, okay.
When did this come up?
When you were gone.
This issue has existed for quite some time. We started to have concerns about the water mains as well as other things that made it more urgent in our minds to be able to resolve this quickly, so.
But you put this out for bid,
I thought it was April.
I mean, for the engineering. How long ago did you do that?
Probably a month.
Did you get this one? This one came out May 2nd when you were gone.
That was after we received direction from legal and engineering that we needed to do that.
Well, then legal and engineering should have given you direction that if you're doing that, then it was gonna be an emergency, that we should have at least been notified before you get the job done. If you had a month engineer, come on.
I think originally when
That
this
was
was
last week.
engineered, the water
last
main
week.
stabilization was not the issue.
What?
The water main stabilization was not as prominent of an issue when they originally engineered. Then it became, they had filled the hole with dirt and a few other things to try to stabilize it. The dirt disappeared and they were worried that they were going to lose the water main, which kicked it into the emergency situation. And that's when we became involved at that point.
I'm having a hard time believing that, not doubting your word. But if it was such an emergency, why did we, 4 weeks ago when we gave it to engineering, we must have known it was an emergency 4 weeks ago.
Yes. We felt that it was, and we went through the process.
So if it was an emergency 4 weeks ago, we should have said, we're gonna fast track this.
Agreed. And if it isn't an urgent status, then the rules for bidding under Chapter 26, there are provisions that we can go a different direction as long as the city manager and the city engineer declare that it's an emergency, which is what happened midstream with us when the declaration was made at that time.
I don't understand it. I guess you have to put it in writing and give my small brain time to absorb, because I don't see how it became an emergency overnight. But anyway, it is what it is, but I think that's,
So this is a 10-day project,
10 working days.
and they're halfway into it?
Yeah, they're probably 5 or 6 days into it.
I did not see your memo last week. I apologize.
well, you were busy out in DC trying to get money for the city. It's understandable.
We had a really successful outing, didn't we?
You can tell us that later.
Yeah.
Like next week.
I apologize, and I was thinking this was coming up.
B is a resolution awarding a service provider agreement to O'Keefe Elevator Company for elevator modernization and consulting services agreements with HGM for services related to the Bluff Road Bridge project. D is a resolution granting permit to Fibercom for underground cable along various streets, Harbor Drive, Niobrara Avenue, MacArthur, and Mitchell Streets. E is a resolution granting a permit to Fibercom for underground cable along various streets, South St. Mary's and Transit and Morningside Avenue. The reason I ask is some of us spent lots of extra money up there to do sidewalks, and why do I think they're gonna come in and, I think it's right up around my office that I have.
If I can read the map, they're going to stay on the north side of Transit from, it looks like,
South St. Mary's.
South St. Mary's all the way just west of the intersection of Morningside and South St. Aubin.
And are they going to tear up any street?
No, it looks like it's in the alignment of the sidewalk. I have to check the letter to see if they indicate boring, or probably would bore it.
Well, just get it to me later, but, you know, we just put all that in new out there not very many years ago, so we don't need to be tearing up our streets.
Okay, yeah, I can send you more information.
All right. F is a resolution approving amendment number 3 to the consulting service agreement with the Short Elliott Hendrickson for the Sertoma Trail and Cone Park design projects. Another one, Matt, we knew they were gonna do it all along. I don't know why we just didn't do it in the first contract rather than have three amendments to a contract. You don't have to answer. It makes no sense. It makes no sense that we do that kind of stuff. G is a resolution approving a third amendment to the Hazmat 2080 agreement with Osceola County. H is a resolution approving a third amendment for the Hazmat 2080 agreement with Clay County. I is a resolution approving a skybox sublease agreement with Irving Jensen Jr. and the Explorers. J is a resolution approving amendment number 1 to the lease agreement with Swiftel Communications. K is a resolution approving a consulting services agreement with JEO for design of the channel cleaning project. L is a resolution awarding a contract to RML for design and construction services at the Milwaukee Road Shops Roundhouse Enhancement. M is a resolution awarding a contract to H&R for their interior remodel Long Lines Rec Center addition auditorium space project. N is a resolution awarding a contract to MLS Landscaping for construction of the Pearl Street Park.
Mayor, I have a question on that one.
Good.
Is that, Matt, that was the only bid
Correct.
that we received, and it's 5% below under the
Engineer's estimate,
What's the completion date?
September 30th.
When would they start?
We're going to have a pre-con meeting on Wednesday, so anytime after that.
And why are we out there doing all the sloping and building the circular and doing the trenches and all that sort of, why are we doing that?
We did that demo work just to save money on the contract.
But that's why it's under budget here.
Because we have estimated about $65,000 worth of city expenses and another $27,000 in contingency. And we have, the total funding available is about $500,000.
But we're doing they're grading the mound, the center deal today.
They're starting to do some shaping, yeah.
Who is?
The city.
Yeah, I don't understand that. We're responsible then if that doesn't have meat compaction in that. Why are we doing that?
That's the way we had set it up from day one. We actually did an amendment about this at the last council meeting to distinguish what the city's work was and what the contractor's responsibilities were.
Well, I can tell you, you can give me all the memos you want. I didn't understand that, and I would not agree to that if I'd known that, because now we've assumed some liability if something happens that shouldn't. And it's not like it's saving the city any money because you're charging this project. Your people have been out there a lot. And I don't believe it's any cheaper to have your people doing that.
That was our opinion, and that we would save money on the contract by doing some of the work in-house.
Well, good. Then tell us how much you've spent year to date before these guys start then.
I can get you the figures.
But won't the contractor accept the city's work?
Not if you have a failure, he's not going.
If they were not happy with the city's work, then they would just have to let us know what's wrong, and then we would have to correct it.
I'm not talking about short term. What I'm talking about.
In 10 years, if there's cracks in the foundation or something, are they going to come back and say, well, no,
Well, it doesn't matter, landscape, if you don't have compaction, some sort of compaction on sidewalks, if it's uneven, you're gonna have uneven settling in sidewalks. Mr. Nelson, am I right? You wanna kinda have the same, don't you? But anyway, it's too late now, but.
Thanks, Matt.
I'll be interested to see the numbers, because I'm sure we didn't save one thing with that. O is a resolution authorizing the agreement with IDOT and Burlington Northern for the railroad signal safety project on Virginia Street. P is a resolution awarding a contract to MLS Landscaping for the Promenade Improvement Project.
I had a question on that one. It was just, I was looking through the contract and it was talking about litter receptacles. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I think I brought up in council concerns a few meetings ago was just more recycling receptacles. Is that going to be an option, or is that going to be able to be part of it as well? Is there anything we can do there?
Yes, Melissa Campbell, Environmental Services Analyst. We're going to test a recycling container here, and we'll see how it works out. If it works out, we don't have a lot of contamination, then we can try it in other places throughout the city.
Okay, so that's in, because I just didn't see it in contract or in the plans.
Are you referring to a waste receptacle or a recycling receptacle?
Well, I saw one that said litter recycle,
Okay.
I believe. And I was
Which I
wondering if
think
we were gonna
they-
have one next to it that was like recycling. for
Right,
bottles.
yep, they will have both. They will have both a waste receptacle and a recycling receptacle, and it is part of an alternate. It's an alternate number 1.
Oh.
Which we will be doing.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Q is a resolution approving a targeted jobs withholding agreement with IEDA and C2C Express. R is resolution granting a permit to Arion Network Services for underground cable through various streets, Nebraska and 3rd Street. S is a resolution awarding a contract to A&G Construction for the annual CBD ADA sidewalk ramp project. T is a resolution approving the agreement with DGR for design and construction of the Morningside Avenue reconstruction. Did they do the first phase?
No, the first phase was designed by McClure Engineering.
Just curious why you would switch, just out of curiosity. Not that I care, I don't really care, but it just seems like if they've already got a handle on the,
Right. The committee felt, based on a review of the proposals that were submitted, that DGRs had more quality substance. And because this funding is through the DOT, we couldn't go back and negotiate between the two. We had to go with the highest ranked firm and get a scope.
that's a good enough answer. That's good enough answer. Okay. U is a resolution inviting proposals for the underground electrical easement in the Donner Park urban renewal area, accepting the proposal of Mid-American, setting a public hearing for 5931 Pershing Street. 13, purchasing A is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Hawkins for aluminum sulfate for the water treatment plant. B is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Jensen Motors for 16 Ford Fusions.
I had a few questions about that.
As did I.
A few questions, just reading over it. I was wondering why were 12 vehicles coming with a remote start and 4 were not?
The question should be, why are any?
The Sioux City Police Department requested remote starts on their vehicles for their investigators. That's why there was a split between the different ones for the city vehicles versus the police department vehicles. We asked if it was life-saving, and they seemed to feel that it was, so that we needed to have that. So it was an emergency type situation, not emergency, but a life safety type situation. We did ask the question.
So the 12 vehicles with remote start are.
Mm-hmm.
And then another question I had was, well, yeah, in item B, it didn't specify who it was for, so I appreciate that clarification. And then the last one was, do we know the average number of miles on these vehicles? Because I was trying to think of like the average number of miles, if the 8 years replacement was needed, what national average is versus ours. And I understand that like police.
Over 100,000 miles. Some of them are in the 80s to 90s. There are very few that are very small miles where they're in the 50s to 60s, and those will be put into a pool car, so they'll continue to use and get the rest of the miles off those cars. So they won't just go straight to an auction. We'll use them up before they go to an auction.
So I would have liked that clarification. Okay, and then the last question I had was, I think about trade-in. Do we ever do it? Do you get more value for trade-in versus going straight to an auction?
We have in the past. I'm new to this fleet portion of the job, so.
Me too.
But in the past, it has been historic that we have not gotten a tremendous amount of money out of them on the auction. We do from time to time, if it's a vehicle that we feel is a substantial trade-in value available to it, we will put it out as part of the proposal. It'll be an option 2. They can bid it with and without a trade-in, and then if the trade-in is, we feel the trade-in is worthwhile, then we'll go ahead and accept that and bring that to council for approval.
Okay, and last one. So then is there a threshold if the number of miles is under that you use it as what you call the pool vehicle versus?
Pool vehicles. Pool vehicles go into for whether somebody has a vehicle that's down for maintenance or they need one for a special occurrence. We have 2 different types of them. We have some newer ones that go out for out of town so that they're very reliable going on trips. And then we also have in-town pool cars where it's these type of vehicles that are brought off of a use from a department, and then they're used internally until the miles are brought up.
And there's a mile threshold though, a number of miles threshold that you use.
Yeah, typically we're looking at 80,000 plus.
is when it goes
More than
off.
likely, it'll go to 100,000 before we ever get to it.
Safety, that's what, it's safety.
Okay.
Okay.
Tell me again, because I'm just dying to hear how remote starts are a life safety issue.
I'll let that, the officer.
Captain Marty Riley, Sioux City Police Department. The cars that we have currently have remote starts on them. And
Because
part
we
of
made a
it,
mistake in the past doesn't mean I want to continue that in the future.
right,
So I don't care what you, I just want to know why that's life safety.
I wouldn't have used that term. I would have used it as a convenience because it's cold and they get called out in the middle of the night to go places. They also want the cars to continue to run when they're on the scene, and that's not allowable unless you have an ignition shut-off switch, which we don't have any longer. We do on squad cars, but not on unmarked cars.
Do you have the ability, I'm just trying to remember with my dad being a police officer, I thought he used to lock the key in the ignition. Is that possible? Probably not with the new
No, the
vehicles,
doors
right?
keep unlocking because you can't lock your
I
key
can
in
tell
your
you
car
all
anymore.
about that.
Yeah, right? Well, I mean, I think that's what he used to, I just remember it.
On squad cars, we have something called an ignition shut-off switch. You can actually turn the ignition on, take the key out, lock the door. You can't get it out of gear. You can lock the door. But if you lock the car now with the keys in it, the door won't lock.
Yeah.
It won't let you lock the keys in.
Yeah, because the remote start was what?
Any of these for your department,
You
Daryl?
can't drive the police.
Ones
car.
without the remote start. I got 2 of them, yeah.
Yeah.
So when your guys have to go out in the middle of the night, they've got to jump in a cold car.
Huh? No.
This is
because
true.
I did it right around.
I don't understand the difference. If you got to go out to a fire job,
I agree.
the one thing about remote starts is they're a big waste of gas. You can say they're not, but they're a big waste of gas.
How much more are these remote starts on these cars?
$370.
$370.
It's not-
piece?
That's
$370
cheap on the front side.
$370 for 12 vehicles.
No, I'm just,
That's
that's,
Per vehicle.
That's per
Oh,
vehicle.
it's
that's
per
per
vehicle.
vehicle,
Per
right.
vehicle.
Per
yeah.
vehicle for 12 vehicles.
Well, I think if it's good for cops, it ought to be good for building inspectors, my personal opinion, if we're.
I just soon keep my monthly expenses down. That's fine. I don't need them.
good job.
I'll
You do
give
a
him a
good
bl-
job,
I'll give them a
Daryl.
blanket.
Thank you.
My point was, I think, none, but put me down for, are we still on the consent? Put me down for a no on that one.
Would you like it pulled for a separate roll call?
Sure. And all the police officers watching, Nicole, can see me vote no. I know what your logic is. Call the roll, please.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
No.
Waters,
No.
Capron.
God, it's up to me, huh? Aye.
I'll tell you why I vote no. It's not against police officers. If it's good for one group of employees that have the same basic job description, for me, it's good for all employees. Awarding a purchase order to Jensen Motors for one Ford Fusion. D is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Echologics for one leak detector unit for the Utilities Department. 14 are approved checks for April 2017 in the amount of $6,303,335.85. 15 are applications for cigarette, tobacco, nicotine, vapor permits. See the list. Come forward if you have any questions. Yes, sir.
On 15A5, Hard Rock, I'm abstaining on that conflict of interest.
16, that's fine. 16 are applications for beer and liquor license. See the list. Come forward if you have any questions.
15B1 as well.
I do have a question.
Well, I have to abstain on
15B1.
15B1.
Vending machine, explain that to me.
What?
On 15B1, it says vending machine and it says Hard Rock. So,
They sell the cigarettes out of the vending machine.
well, that's new, because I don't think you could do that before. I thought it was.
Probably if you're inside, if
You
you're
have to be
inside
21.
where you already got to be 21 to be there.
Well, same with bars, they're supposed to be 21, but they took that away from us years ago.
Yeah, but you're not, it's different. You have to be carded to be inside the gambling portion. You don't have to be carded to walk into a bar. There is a difference.
You should. Should be, Bob, Mayor. But anyway.
I don't make the rules, Rhonda. I'm just trying to tell you one.
Ashley French, Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. That vending machine is located on the gaming floor, and no patrons under the age of 21 can access that.
Makes sense.
Now we have a motion requested to amend the date of the Sioux Gateway Airport 2403 Ogden Avenue premise update enlargement, Siouxland Chamber Rush Hour Connect, May 16th, 2017, and we need to move it to 2018, 2017. I'll move that.
Second.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters, Capron.
Aye.
Then we have a Class B liquor license, Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Sioux City, 111 3rd Street premise update enlargement, expanding the premise to include the addition of the VIP game room and wine bar to the main building. I'll move that.
Second.
Moore,
Abstain.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters. Capron.
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
Add that one. What item is that?
Well, they're add-ons that they put on my agenda. You don't have them.
So the motion would be to add it to a
Right.
portion of the consent agenda.
I see.
They're
Right.
going to be opening prior to the next council date.
Okay.
So
Right.
it's a situation where action needed to be taken today.
Okay, thank you.
17, a receipt of minutes, see the list, come forward if you have any questions. Anyone to be heard on any of those items? Call the roll, please.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters. Capron.
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
18 is a resolution approving the final plat of Whiskey Acres. The petitioner is Dale and Jean Frank. P and Z recommends approval. I'll move it.
Second.
Yes.
This was approved unanimously by Planning and Zoning Commission. Only the petitioners were in the audience. It's within the 2 miles of city limits.
That out by Whispering Creek, isn't it? That's all right.
It's not on the north side, that's all I know.
Oh, okay, it's not where I thought. Call the roll, please.
Waters. Capron.
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. 19 is a hearing and ordinance rezoning a portion of 2307 28th Street, 2809, and 2901 Floyd Boulevard, zone classification NC.4 to NC.5. Petitioners Black and Blue Development. P and Z recommends approval. Move it.
Second.
This was unanimously approved, only the petitioner was in the audience. There was one general letter opposed to the entire project. This is to accommodate us, the configuration of the structures is why this is happening.
It's a setback, isn't it?
Correct.
That's causing this change.
Correct, interior side setback, if I am correct. Chris can say it much more elegantly than I can.
Because our new zoning requires a lot more.
Chris Madsen, planner. The NC4 zone does require a 10-foot interior side yard, which is the same as what the RG50 zone of the 1976 zoning ordinance would have required. The petitioner wants 7-foot side yards, but again, they're only requesting 7.
The same number of units.
Correct. Other bulk regulations, square footage per unit, lot width, those requirements would remain the same.
The footprint remains the same.
Thank you.
Call the roll, please.
Capron.
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Scott. Waters.
Aye. Anybody opposed to waiving the statutory rule?
No.
I'll move it.
Second.
Greckin.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Waters. Capron.
Aye.
Move second and third.
Second.
Moore.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Waters. Capron.
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
20 is a hearing and ordinance rezoning the northern portion of 5519 Stone Avenue from zone classification AG to NC5. Petitioners Lonnie Stir. P and Z recommends approval. I'll move first reading.
Second.
It was unanimously approved by Planning and Zoning. I don't even think the petitioner was there.
Call the roll. Go ahead.
Moore.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Waters. Capron.
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
Anybody opposed to waiving the statutory rule?
No.
I'll move it.
Second.
Scott.
Aye.
Waters. Capron.
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Move second and third.
Second.
Waters. Capron.
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. 21 is a hearing and ordinance rezoning a southern portion of 5519 Stone Avenue from zone classification AG and NC.2 to NC.2. Petitioners Lonnie Stir, P and Z recommends approval. I'll move it.
Second.
It was approved unanimously. It's a companion to item 20.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Anybody opposed to waiving the rule?
No.
I'll move it.
Second.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Second, third.
Second.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters. Capron,
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
22 is a hearing and resolution approving plans and specification for construction of the Ridge Avenue Sanitary Sewer Project. I'll move it.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
23 is a hearing and resolution accepting the proposal of Jorge Cruz Angeles and Lila Cruz for the purchase of land in the Jones Street Urban Renewal Area, 861 15th Street. Move it.
Second.
Jill, is this one of those houses, new houses? What is this?
Yes, it is. Jill
And what did
Wondershine
we
Human
have in this
Services.
house when we were all done?
We partnered with, or hired Nelson, and the total construction cost was $192,000. And so per the requirements of the funding source, which is home, we have to sell it for the appraised value, which is $112,000.
And then we're gonna give them help with the down payment besides.
They are required, another requirement of home, to give
So
down
really,
payment and closing costs.
really good deal we're getting in here? Because we had more than 190 in those houses. I thought we had like 200 plus.
I think, well, the construction was 192. There might have been a few site costs, like surveying, things like that, but I believe it was under 200. We used to, back a few years ago, utilize a developer to do this, but we were seeing not very much competition. We'd get one interested developer. And so this way we save on developer fees and those kinds of things too.
So I'm just asking, how good, why is this a good deal for the public that's listening out there today?
Sure.
That you're probably gonna give them 12 to 14,000 worth of the down payment besides, so we're gonna lose 100 plus on the lot.
Well, the purpose of home funds is really to provide investment into areas that haven't traditionally seen investment in a long time, or there's not the private market to make the investment in those areas. So it really helps the neighborhood as a whole with stability and improvements. And so in this case in particular, it's in our urban renewal area. We've done a significant amount of housing rehabilitation in the area, public infrastructure, park improvements. So this just continues that work on to make that neighborhood better for everyone in that area.
So this house is already done,
Yes, correct.
and then we're doing the same thing on the next deal.
Yep, we have another home on Vine Avenue. So we'll be starting to market that once we close on this property.
Okay, but
This home. And we did that. The house next door was something that, a home that we rehabbed probably 8 to 10 years ago. They have no green space at all. And so they were interested in acquiring some additional property for a yard. There will be a deed restriction on there of what they can and cannot do with it, just to provide some more green space in the neighborhood because it is incredibly dense.
the reason I'm asking, it has the same address.
Yes, it's confusing. It does have the vacant lot is technically addressed as 861, but that will be attached to next door, which I believe is 859. So
Okay.
once it gets sold, it'll connect onto that address. But
Okay.
I agree, it's a little confusing.
All right, thank you.
Mhm.
24 is a hearing and resolution accepting, I'm sorry, call the roll.
Waters.
Aye.
Capron.
Aye.
Gretkin.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. 24 is a hearing and resolution accepting the proposal of Bernardino and Cleo Tilde Alvarez for the purchase of land in the Jones Street Urban Renewal Area vacant lot at 861 15th Street. I'll move it.
Second.
Capron.
Aye.
Gretkin.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
25 is a hearing and resolution accepting the proposal of Peace Reformed Church of America for the purchase of land in the combined Floyd River Urban Renewal Area, a portion of the vacated and abutting 4100 Outer Drive. I'll move it.
Second. Isn't this one we had before?
Well, we had it
It's scheduled for
vacating it, now you're selling it.
So we're okay with the width and all that you brought up the last time?
Yeah.
You'll find out in about 50 years, so. You gonna be here?
I hope to be here, but the way I'm feeling right now, I'm not so sure. I mean, I saw Jill come up and address the council. Jill, I don't know where you get your energy. I mean, you were so successful last week in DC, and I'm just dragging.
She's younger.
I was hoping no one would point that out to me. Glad it wasn't Alex.
A lot younger.
He did have a birthday.
Call the roll, please, so we can move on.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron.
Aye.
26 is a hearing and resolution approving plans and specification for construction of the riverfront sanitary sewer intercepting cleaning and televising project. I'll move that.
Second.
Moore,
Well, wait, sorry. That's not your fault, mine. I ask this question only because when we get into televising and cleaning sewers, we sometimes have had issues, Glenn or Rick. So assure me that we're not gonna have a problem with this, because we have. You know what I'm talking about, I hope. We know what we're doing here.
Yes, the way the specs are written, it's clear as to what type of equipment and how the project's to be completed.
Okay. Now, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
27 is a hearing and resolution on the issuance of GO bonds not to exceed $15,250,000. I'll move it.
Second.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
28 is a hearing and resolution for the issuance of GO bonds not to exceed $1 million. I'll move it.
Second.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron.
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
29 is a hearing and resolution on the issuance of GO bonds not to exceed $1 million. I'll move it.
Second.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. 30 is a hearing and resolution on the issuance of GO bonds not to exceed $1 million. I'll move it.
Second.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
31 is a hearing and resolution for the issuance of GO bonds not to exceed $1 million. I'll move it.
Aye. No, second.
Hasn't done that.
Aye.
I'm so
Moore,
excited.
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron.
Aye.
32 is a hearing and resolution for the issuance of GO bonds not to exceed $400,000. I'll move it.
Second.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
33 is a hearing and resolution for the issuance of GO bonds and urban renewal bonds not to exceed $3 million. I'll move it.
Second.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
34 is a resolution directing the sale of $14,170,000 worth of GO bonds. I'll move it.
Second.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. 35 is a resolution directing the sale of $6,670,000 worth of taxable GO bonds. I'll move it.
Second.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
36 is a hearing and resolution accepting the proposal of Kinseth Hospitality for the purchase of the land in the combined central CBD urban renewal area in the 800 block of 4th Street, deferred from April 17th, 2017. Motion is requested deferred till May 22nd, 2017.
Will this give us the time we need on the deferral?
No.
That's the plan. We'd like to be able to bring both agreements to you at the same, the management agreement and the development agreement at the same time. And so we'd certainly like to be able to do that with this time frame.
But you think that will be enough time for you,
I think so.
based on what you have seen?
We will not bring back the development agreement until we have the management agreement, but we think we're close.
Well, then why don't we just delete it and bring it back so that,
It's been
Yeah.
scheduled for hearing, so we would have to.
I understand that, but we
renotice.
have people that sit here every week wondering what we're doing.
That's why we're deferring it to the 22nd now.
I'm sitting here the same thing, Bob.
But what were you saying, Nicole, about the
Because there's a piece of land that is part of the
You have to start over.
transaction, we have to give a 30-day notice, so we would have to start over and renotice.
Okay. I'll move that we defer item 36 to May 22nd, 2017.
I second.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
No.
Waters.
38 is a hearing and resolution accepting the proposal of Monterey Management and J. Clone and authorizing agreements for land in the Donner Park Urban Renewal Area, 2300
Missed one.
Boulevard of Champions.
Missed 37.
Oh, I missed 37, I'm sorry, we'll go back. Motion, 37 is a hearing and resolution accepting the proposal of Tritz Pallets and Tritz Holding and authorizing payments, or authorizing agreements for the land in the Donner Park Urban Renewal Area, 2201 Boulevard of Champions. Motion request defer till May 22nd, 2017. And why are we deferring?
Chris Myers, Economic Development Specialist. We're deferring because they had some questions and issues on the development agreement and requested some additional time for their attorneys to review and get back to us.
And then the next one, we're deferring for even longer. Why is that?
Same issue. They just thought it would take longer. We asked them how long it would take and talked to their attorney, and they felt that they needed the extra time.
I'll move that we defer item 37 to May 22nd, 2017.
Second.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Capron.
Aye.
Did we not spell out pretty well what we wanted when we bid this?
Yeah, we haven't exactly heard back on they've told us they're going to get us something in writing on their issues, and they haven't gotten back to us yet. But we were fairly clear in what we wanted on this development, and they've given us proposals, and we signed LOUs to that effect that outlined everything that was in their proposals. So we're waiting to see what their issues are.
Well, tell them time's wasting because we've got other people interested in that property.
Yes, I agree.
38 is a hearing and resolution accepting the proposal of Monterey Management and J. Clone and authorizing agreements for land in the Donner Park Urban Renewal Area, 2301 Boulevard of Champions. We need a motion to defer till June.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
39 is a resolution approving First Amendment to the development agreement with AP Sioux City Sunnybrook Village Project. Move it.
Second.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin.
Conflict of interest.
40 is a resolution awarding a contract to Bainbridge Construction for the Ravine Park Watershed Upland BMPS project deferred from April 24th, 2017. The motion is requested to defer till May 22nd, 2017. And I'm sorry, it's probably in there, but why are we deferring this one? Because I saw some memos about they were concerned about his bid, but he thought his bid was fine. So why are we deferring?
This project is receiving SRF funding, and we need to have this final easement completed before we can be authorized to spend the funding in this particular part of the project. If you recall, this project has 4 components. We have a north of the JCPenney's on the north side of the parking lot. We've got a rain garden portion there. Against Sargent Road and Wells Fargo, we have a rain garden there as well. And then along Yonkers, we have some landscaping there. This easement, if we can't finalize this easement, the funding for that rain garden on the north side of JCPenney's would not be provided. So we're just trying to buy us more time. We're working with JCPenney's. They've got some issues with the scheduling and some traffic control, but the actual easement itself really isn't the issue. They just want to finalize how traffic's going to manage through their parking lot and what the timing will be as it relates to some of their needs during the season.
I remembered I wasn't still not very enamored with the whole project. So I asked, like the stoplight that 14th and Jackson, how do we get this far into a project and not have easements?
And This project we were trying to meet deadlines for the program itself and then the loans that finance has been working with to maximize the amount of funding that would be available for the construction of this project. If we were not able to meet the deadlines that were established, we would lose funding for this project and the city would have to.
It's not exactly true. You've got money and you got to spend it on a project. We picked this project because it was a high priority for you guys. But if these guys don't give you the easement, we just forfeited money.
We would forfeit the money for that particular water quality component, that rain garden along the JCPenney's.
Yeah.
We would have to go back to the contractor and revise the contractor, eliminate that piece of the project.
Right. So why do we get this far without easements? That's the question.
I know in this particular project, because of the timeline, we proceeded knowing that we didn't have these easements in place, so we built the contract or the specifications in such a way that the contractor couldn't start work until these easements were obtained, and we knew this would extend into June, into the June timeframe. So we built that up front. But yeah, we really don't like to get into projects where we're waiting for easements because of these issues, the potential for cost delays by the contractor. So we don't, if this didn't have any funding tied to it and we were to award it, the contractor may not be able to start and then it could issue delays. So we try not to have those situations come up.
My point is that there are other projects that you could have done and used this money that we probably didn't need easements for.
Yeah,
we chose this project and now we're had with this project. So we run the potential of losing money that we should be having. And now the landowner has us. We're not bargaining from a position of strength here.
You're correct. We do have other areas identified, but again, this one we felt was a significant contributor with all the impervious area of the parking lot that we could get a significant project completed. And so this is the one we went off after first. We do have smaller projects identified and we will focus on them after, or we're focusing on them now. But I mean, yeah, at the time we had this funding available a year and a half ago, this is one of the ones we focused on initially.
A year and a half, we don't have easements.
Well, do your best to try to get that wrapped up for us by the 22nd.
You were the old college try. Dem for an easement?
Potentially. That takes a few months, though, if we go through the condemnation process.
But we do have that as a.
No, you don't, because this contract's only good for a certain time frame.
Yeah. Like I said, do the best you can to get that wrapped up by May 22nd. I did say please the first time.
Call the roll, please.
Sorry, I don't.
Do we have a
This will
motion?
move. Yeah, I motion that we defer until May 22nd, 2017.
Second.
Waters,
Aye.
Capron,
Aye.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott.
No. Count citizen concerns. Are there any citizens who would like to be heard? Please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, we'll go to council concerns. Mr. Gretkin.
Just a couple quick items. First, I want to acknowledge the Mayor's Youth Commission. The Mayor's Youth Commission participated in a fundraiser. I believe they were selling packages of caramel corn, but the results of the fundraiser was, I think, total $2,012, and the proceeds will be dedicated to Cone Park to help with the cost of the ice making machine. So once again, the Youth Commission is out really participating in the community and trying to do what they can help. So that's really a big plus. I think they're looking for a lot of private donations to help with some of the equipment down there. So I wanted to thank the Mayor's Youth Commission on behalf of the council. And then I just wanted to also quickly acknowledge the Sioux City Public Library for their on the occasion of their 140th birthday. And I know that they had a special story time with cupcakes last Saturday, but they will be putting together a milestone timeline that'll provide other events throughout the year. But 140 years is pretty significant, and they've done a great service to the city as well. So both of those events really signify what good can come of people getting involved and helping the city along the way to make it a better community. So thank you.
I just want to tell you guys here that me and Pete, we held the fort down really good. I'm very proud of some of the things that we got accomplished. We're not going to tell you right now, though. Also, I did a ride-along with the police department Saturday night, and it was very interesting. I did the overnight, 7 to, well, I got done about 4. Seen a lot of interesting things out there, and I'll tell you, our police department does a great job. And they do a lot of things that you would never ever guess. And I was very impressed. Our first call was a handicapped man that needed to. It wasn't Alex. I'm just teasing Alex. I love you, honey. But this guy was in a wheelchair and he could not get home, and they gave him a ride. They picked him up, put him in the police car, put his wheelchair in the back, and got him home. And
Give him a call. Alex's truck's burnt down. He's gonna need a ride home.
hey, listen, we have connections. Don't you worry. So, yeah, we rode around downtown. We obviously a lot of their work is watching the bars and checking assault charges and all kinds of stuff. And I'm proud of our police department. We did a great job. So that's what I got.
Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know that you're very excited about that, aren't you? Yeah. And that's why we need remote controls. So the girls are, we're comfortable. That's it. I'm done.
All right, a few things that I had. First off, I believe the story on Channel 4 is running tonight. I forget the title of it. It's something about attack with Michelle Schoening. And I guess when I saw the commercial for it, I really appreciate that we're bringing awareness about this. I think it's a topic that needs to be addressed. It's going to talk about self-defense, things like that.
Oh, yeah.
However, it also starts with, I think we're trying to get away from that stigma that it's a dangerous place. I know as a city official, I didn't appreciate that we're kind of setting that tone that we're talking about sexual assault, and this is one of the places we're worried about. I mean, I don't know. My girlfriend actually is a sexual assault nurse examiner for Unity Points ER, and she saw that with me, and she said, do they understand that these sexual assaults happen everywhere? I just didn't appreciate that, and I wanted that to be on record. The next thing I wanted to say is a positive thing. I'll turn the tone and say I wish, with everything, that I know I'm up here with a couple of council members that went as well, but staff thoroughly impressed me in Washington, D.C. I was really blown away with their dedication, their knowledge about these different issues, and their passion that they were advocating with our different congressmen and women, as well as other people throughout the whole time that we were in Washington. And I wish they were here for me to thank them in this venue. I know I thank them individually, but really, I mean, Bob, everyone that was able to make it, I was very, very proud to be from Sioux City and be representing Sioux City alongside them. So thank you very, very much for all of you that you went. The next thing is I was thinking back about the Roger Brooks study, and I know we've talked about that and some of the different things about it, but one of the things that he brought up that I found myself thinking about when I was downtown on Saturday night were the globes that run along 4th Street, the lights that we have. And I think his figure, and I'd have to look it up, in his speech he said something like 44 lights were out, and he was like, why is this an issue? Why have we not done that? And Bob, maybe you have an answer, but I went down and counted them down 4th Street because apparently I had time on Saturday night. And I counted 41 that were still
You weren't
out.
the one we pulled over either.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
got 3
right.
fixed.
Huh?
We got 3 fixed.
Amen. But I just didn't know if there's a
If I could
plan.
add, I believe we're under contract, we're converting those into LED lights, so it didn't make financial sense to repair the current lights and then immediately convert them to something else.
But are you saying that we're waiting for all of them to burn out and then we'll change them
No,
all?
they're in the process, I believe, of being converted.
Oh, okay. I like them. I like them.
I'll follow up, but we'd received some complaints about a week and a half ago about burnt out lights, and that was the response.
Yeah, and I like going to LED, don't get me wrong. I
Yeah.
think that's a smart move, and if it's gonna save
But then
money,
we
so
need to
we
get
do
it done.
Do it. But yeah, I was showing people around though from out of town, from Washington DC, actually here, and we just noticed that while we were downtown, so. Next thing is Nurses Appreciation Week is this week. Make sure to thank your nurses for all they do. Next thing, I went to the farmer's market this Saturday. That was incredible. It's now up and going, Wednesday and Saturday, so make sure you attend that. Food Truck Fridays, I'm always looking forward to it, and anyone that's working downtown should be as well. It's down right by the Riviera, right? Isn't that the place it's at right now? Yep, we're in between the Howard Johnson and Riviera Theater. Then, Living Legends performance on Saturday is up at North High. We're pretty lucky to have that in the community, and I'm excited. I'm hopefully going to be able to attend that, so I would encourage others to as well. And then, last but not least, or 2 things, Battle of the Badges is going to be on Saturday. That's something I'm looking forward to hopefully witnessing between the police departments and EMS and firefighters are going to be playing a hockey game. I think we all got invited to that.
Oh, yeah.
So that will be down there. I think that's at 2:00 on Saturday. And then the
That's
final.
at the IBP ice rink or the?
IBP, yep. And then there's actually going to be a dinner right before that, I think sponsored by someone, right?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I was just telling the
I'm
mayor
sure
that.
I'm sure you'll talk about the dinner more, so I'll let you have that.
No, you do.
Get that? I
'cause
said
I'm
you'll talk
very-
about the dinner
no,
more. Get that, Jen?
I'm very, yes.
I got it.
Okay, the last thing I wanted to say, and I know, is Mike back in here? Mike's here. But I just wanted to say too, for his help as well as others, I had to ride the CERT's paratransit system here today because I've been having some vehicle problems, and I was talking and engaging with the driver, and we were just talking both from a consumer as well as a driver, how much that program changes and impacts lives. And sometimes it seems like, gosh, that'd be so easy to write off, or we don't need that service, or gosh, that costs us money, or something like that. I can't tell you, as a disabled person that has such limited transportation in this city and in this country, that I just am so grateful to have that service. I know I will be writing a personal thank you, but I wanted to express it here as well, that it means a great deal to me to have that available. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Would you do me a favor sometime?
Yeah.
Saturday?
Or you tell me no, bedtime. It's after that birthday more. No more.
Another year older. Happy birthday to Alex. Happy birthday to the mayor.
Happy birthday,
Happy birthday
to
to
you.
Nicole.
Jeff
too.
Hansen.
Jeff
Oh
Hansen.
yeah, Jeff. Already.
Michelle Boston Ellis.
We had a lot of birthdays.
A lot of birthdays.
I'm going to follow up with what Alex was talking about with the Siouxland Chamber trip to DC. We had a very successful trip. I want to thank Mayor Bob Scott and Alex Waters for, Alex already complimented the staff, and I agree with you. But I want to compliment the mayor and Alex for doing an excellent job representing the city. We're on a tight time frame, typically like we are at council, so I was very well prepared for that. But I really appreciate what the mayor did and what Alex did. We really, I think it was successful from the standpoint that we really covered the important issues of the day: workforce recruitment, community development block grant, and home investment partnership program. We talked about workforce development through career and technical education, the 185th air refueling wing ready for next generation of mid-air refueling tankers. We talked about the essential air service program, federal deficit reduction. All in all, I think it was a very successful trip. I'm glad we did it. It was a very tough 2 days, actually, but we were all in attendance. We all put in what we needed to put in to get somewhere with our senators and with our congressmen and women. The other thing I do want to point out is Tuesday morning I went to Governor Terry Branstad's confirmation hearing, and that was just really spectacular. He was on top of his game. And if you don't think that having an ambassador from Iowa serving in China won't at least help, it can't hurt, but open markets for Sioux City and for Iowa, I'm just really excited about that. And Governor Branstad he hit it out of the ballpark with his answers to the very tough questions he was getting about China and about just the worldwide situation we have. So I was very proud to be from Sioux City. I was very proud to be from Iowa, and I let people know that morning. So it was just a very, very good trip, and I'm really glad we did it. Mayor, I want to thank you because, you know, the mayor just tells it like it is, and the senators, our
Really?
senators and elected officials need to hear that sometimes. So I do truly appreciate what you did last week while we were in D.C. That's all I have.
Well, for me to sit through 2 days of meetings was,
It was a test, wasn't it?
it all came back to me why I haven't been there for 20 years, and it'll be 20 before I go again, but it was fun to be there. I will say this, I had to stay over and go to Annapolis on Friday. This is a big deal, the launching of that ship at Annapolis. They don't have one recorded. They're doing history. Believe it or not, the Naval Academy's never had a ship commissioned in the bay there. And one of the reasons is because it takes a ship that only goes 14 feet. Anyway, we got to tour the whole Naval Academy. It was quite an experience, unbelievable experience. And I can tell you that they are planning 7 days of activities, and that we all need to plan on being there when that happens, because it's a big deal. So
2018?
yeah, July, they think it's tentative, but sometime in July of 18. So, but I talked to the Lockheed Martin guy at Winnefeld's house that night, and everything is subject to change, but
Yeah.
it was quite an experience. They have a simulator at the Naval Academy that all midshipmen have to go through, and they put you in this simulator that has, like, they dropped us in the middle of Pearl Harbor, and they can make it be our ship or an aircraft carrier, whatever, the front changes, and then they put you in waves like 5 feet, and the thing is not moving at all, but you think
Oh, wow.
that you're gonna, I mean, people had to leave because that simulator is so unbelievable that you think the floor is moving on you, and it's really not. So it was quite an experience to see that. I told them they were gonna redo something. I said, we'd be glad to take the downtown. I didn't get that done, but we'll continue to work on it, so.
Well, I can't tell you how much I would love to attend that.
Yeah, I thought of you when I was standing there myself.
Yeah.
All right.
Council member.
Yeah, oh my
I
goodness.
move we adjourn.
Second.
Capron.
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye. Did you get a
Scott.
second?
But it was so visual.